AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea.
More and more I'm seeing people on the right offering like some praise for her, like, oh, don't count out AOC. And she's a fighter because she seems to have some of the same base as Trump, people who want an outsider. Wake up, people. Wake up. She was 100% on the side of Jordan Neely here, throwing out all the racism accusations and all that her woke identity politics playbook. She is no friend to reason. So stop, okay? Just stop. The praise of AOC has to end from anybody who wants justice, wants reason, wants sanity to prevail, and isn't on the side of woke.
Just when AOC thought her latest hot take would set Twitter on fire with claps and flame emojis, Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly jumped in like unexpected guests who came ready to stir the room. Gutfeld went after her like it was open mic night in the Senate, throwing sharp jokes one after another. Kelly, on the other hand, calmly picked apart her argument step by step, like someone trying to put together IKEA furniture without the manual. Meanwhile, AOC seemed to lose her rhythm, tossing out buzzwords so fast it felt like a blender with the lid off. The whole thing quickly spun out of control. So what exactly did they say that flipped her viral moment into a public stumble? Let's just say it got messier than Congress trying to decide what's for lunch.
It's me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her life. The reason why she gets along with Bernie is because she's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1980.
AOC just stepped right into another verbal trap, wearing her tax the rich vibe while holding a $14 oat milk latte and talking about economics like she just downloaded a money app 5 minutes ago. But this wasn't really a debate. It felt more like a PR mess she created all by herself. Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly didn't even have to raise their voices. They simply sparked the moment and let the Green New Deal argument slowly fall apart on its own. It was like organic Jell-O sitting too long under bright studio lights, slowly melting while everyone watched.
Let's check in on AOC and see what she has to say.
Any quick reaction on what's going on with Elon Musk and President Trump on Twitter right now?
Oh, man, the girls are fighting, aren't they? I think this breakup we've been seeing a long time coming, but we'll see what the impacts are of it legislatively.
Okay. You're so cool referring to them as the girls. She's above it all, Ben. That's what she's trying to telegraph. You see, she's the adult in the room, the one out there who does a preacher accent, and she leans into her fake Latina accent. And she's the adult in the...
Let's be honest. This wasn't a debate, a real discussion, or anything close to calm back and forth. It felt more like bringing a spoon to a flamethrower fight. Somewhere near a Whole Foods in D.C., Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez made a bold statement. And that comment quickly reached two voices who have no patience for what they see as economic fairy tales, and even less patience for activism dressed up as serious policy.
It's no surprise. Who would go see a movie that's the opposite of entertaining? There's nothing entertaining about that. Michael Moore's colonoscopy is more entertaining than that because there's probably more twists. But it does show you how great it is to be a progressive in a liberal biased culture. She really doesn't do her job, right? She makes movies, she goes to galas, she sits for glossy butt-kissing interviews in GQ and other women's mags. Once you get over to the fact that you're hollow inside, it's not a bad life.
Gutfeld showed up with all the calm of a chainsaw at a yoga retreat. He took one look at AOC's latest idea and treated it about as seriously as most people treat a phishing email. Megyn Kelly followed right behind him, armed with sarcasm, screenshots, and the energy of someone who's been saving up sharp responses for every viral slogan that tries to pass itself off as a revolution.
Their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate on half opinions. Like, what if we get rid of cash bail? Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? You have rapists and killers, finding sanctuary, safe haven. What if we give trans rights that we don't have? Well, you just ruin women's sports. You ruin safe spaces. You make kids' lives hell. But they never think about what their ideas incentivize. That would be nice. So where are their ideas going to come from?
It all started when AOC decided it was time to redefine what success in America even means. Her latest proposal felt less like detailed policy and more like an old social media post full of big slogans but light on specifics. In her version of the future, the economy would grow if the government ran it almost like a donation-based yoga studio. Less focus on competition or personal drive, and more on shared outcomes. Critics say her ideal system sounds like one big national group project, where effort feels optional, but everyone still leaves with the same gold star.
I read a little bit of the New York Times review, and Teo, he thinks that the hopelessness of the movie makes it a hard sell for people who would go see the movie and also for voters to change their minds about climate change. But they said for AOC that she offers the best on-screen antidote to despair because she's funny. A canny political strategy. But they don't like it if conservatives are funny. Yeah. Right? It's only
that's
helpful
mean.
If they're right.
If a conservative is funny, that's mean. You're
right.
mean.
Greg approached AOC's economic vision the way a scientist might study a crop circle. More amused than angry. Honestly curious how someone could sound so confident while seeming so far from everyday reality. The joke, he suggested, is that maybe AOC operates in a world where rent gets paid with good vibes, and inflation is just a rumor made up to ruin the mood. Megyn Kelly took a different path. She didn't clap back loudly. She let it simmer. Drawing on years of real-world experience and serious research, she stayed calm and steady. No shouting, no drama. Her response felt like someone quietly setting down a latte, adjusting a cufflink, and carefully taking apart an argument piece by piece. The real twist, neither Greg Gutfeld nor Megyn Kelly had to push too hard. They simply pointed to reality, and AOC's own logic seemed to do the rest.
Performance from AOC, who decided to go to the Bronx and pretend she was Cardi B.
Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to take this summer back? Are you ready to win on state line?
You're not Cardi B. You're not Muhammad Ali. You're...
Take her climate vision, for example, the Green New Deal. Supporters call it bold. Critics jokingly call it the American Dream's exit plan. To them, it feels less like detailed legislation and more like a collection of big ideas sketched out without clear steps. AOC talks about phasing out fossil fuels while also expanding programs like universal healthcare and housing support. Critics argue it promises sweeping benefits without explaining how the numbers fully add up. They say it sounds less like hard policy and more like a bright motivational poster written in highlighter. Greg didn't need a long monologue. He simply pointed to parts of the proposal he found unrealistic and raised practical questions, like how travel and infrastructure would actually work in a country as large as the United States. Megyn Kelly followed with a calmer tone, reminding viewers that modern economies run on logistics, energy, and math, not just good intentions. In the end, their message was simple: big visions need clear plans. Without that, even the boldest ideas can start to feel like a bake sale with no cookies.
Yeah, this is the reason why you can't even compromise with temporary solutions. Because even if you give a temporary solution to a lefty, they're going to make it permanent. There's no such thing as temporary, whether it was mail-in ballots, or it's the moratorium. You give them and they go, oh, yeah, sure, and we'll get back to normal. No, they won't. Moratorium, they don't even know what that means. And we don't actually, I have to say, we don't talk about her at all. We talk about the stories, and we're always very, very respectful. I think she's incredibly talented, but she hasn't lived enough to be that arrogant.
Yet AOC keeps painting billionaires like medieval dragons lounging on piles of gold, as if the only thing standing between us and a perfect society is a few fiery speeches, a supercharged IRS. No mention of supply chains, budgets, or basic math, just the firm belief that taxing the wealthy is the ultimate fix. Greg nearly lost it laughing when she rolled out yet another Make the Rich Pay plan, clearly aimed at people who think the Laffer curve is a roller coaster at a theme park. His point? If sky-high taxes really solved everything, California would be a progressive paradise, not a bankrupt state with overpriced toast and chaotic policy. In AOC's world, pushback isn't about logic or economics. It's always misogyny, bigotry, or an attack on the vulnerable. Because when your plans wobble like a folding chair in a hurricane, blaming critics is far easier than admitting your blueprint was drawn in sidewalk chalk.
Last week before the inauguration, AOC saying, I'm not going to the inauguration because I don't support rapists. That is a defamatory statement. She didn't make clear that's opinion. She said it as though it were a matter of fact. It isn't. And I really think he should give some serious thought to suing her. She wasn't on the legislative floor. She was sitting in her apartment doing a little Instagram. You can't get away with that. A term like he's a rapist or he's committing potential treason in working with the Russians, like, news organizations have just, and politicians for that matter, given up all the guardrails that we...
Megyn Kelly didn't bother playing along with AOC's usual deflections. She shredded those talking points with the precision of someone running a grown-up governance machine. According to Kelly, AOC spends more time curating her personal brand than actually learning how Congress works. This is the same lawmaker who once warned the world would end in 12 years, busted moves on TikTok, and blamed the weather on capitalism, all in one breath. Now she's back with her latest idea, a moral economy fueled by forgiveness programs, identity panels, and vibes thick enough to fog a hearing room. Greg just leaned back and laughed. If your answer to every problem is adding more bureaucracy, you're not leading, you're storyboarding a failed pilot. And yes, the cow flatulence saga lives on. Greg joked about fitting livestock with catalytic converters. It sounds absurd until you remember she might actually consider it. Kelly closed with a killer line. Does AOC treat the Constitution like a to-do list or just a Pinterest quote? Her politics read less like policy and more like a personality quiz gone completely off the rails.
I heard that AOC, among others, were arrested last night. She truly is an American hero. It was brutal, taken out in cuffs. Well, technically, her shirt had cuffs. Maybe French cuffs, as she did surrender without fighting. But if her pants had cuffs, she would have pretended to be in leg irons too. But real handcuffs, not so much. But that didn't stop her from pretending. And I hate it when people do this to me. When I ask people to put on handcuffs and they say, I'll just pretend I have them on, I'd be like, sure, and I'll pretend to pay.
Greg summed up AOC's economic vision as performance art with a soundtrack. And honestly, that might be the kindest way to put it. Her strategy seems to follow a simple formula. 1. Dig up a failed idea from history. 2. Paint it millennial pink. 3. Cry oppression when it inevitably collapses. Megyn Kelly, with her trademark sharpness, noted that AOC often treats emotion as a stand-in for solutions. Passion without progress is like letting a golden retriever run the Federal Reserve. Greg didn't hold back either. He compared her political rise to a flash sale. Loud, trendy, and gone the moment reality demands a refund. Watching her toss out trillion-dollar proposals with the confidence of a tipsy auctioneer, he called it the best campaign ad for term limits we've seen. AOC claims to champion the working class, but her policies often feel like the rough draft of a college campus play. Kelly sliced through that act like a chainsaw through recycled cardboard. True reformers don't sell virtue while striking poses for fashion spreads. AOC talks revolution, sure, but only if it's Instagram-ready, ethically sourced, and comes wrapped in biodegradable confetti.
True radical left, who's gone beyond all the identity issues. I mean, don't get me wrong. The person I'm going to show you is 100% wrapped in all of them, but like genuinely believes the Hitler fascist stuff, like is distraught because they really think Hitler just got reelected. Most of them were just pretending, but then there are the ones who genuinely believe it, like AOC.
We are about to enter a political period that will have consequences for the rest of our lives. Donald Trump has talked about turning the military on U.S. citizens that he deems his domestic political enemies. Authoritarians and people that he affiliates closely with and strongmen abroad in regimes like that, it is not uncommon to jail political dissidents or legislative.
Greg put it perfectly. AOC isn't dangerous because of her influence. She's dangerous because people act like she has any. While she treats Congress like an open mic for influencer auditions, the adults are left cleaning up the ideological confetti she drops after every soundbite. And here's the kicker, Greg and Kelly didn't even need to insult her. Just quoting her verbatim was enough to spark a full-blown credibility collapse. AOC doesn't need critics, she's a self-igniting political fire hazard. Her resume reads like someone confused a freshman seminar with a governing philosophy. Is she passionate? Absolutely. Focused? Not even close. Greg joked about sending her a copy of Economics for Dummies, and Kelly added, "Make it a collector's edition, 1 book per fantasy program." She seems to invent policy between latte selfies and iPhone rants about capitalism.
Talking, there, I'm picturing AOC lecturing us about our hamburgers, how we can't have them anymore, and we can't have heat in our homes, we can't have SUVs, and we can't, now the left wants us, we have to get rid of our gas stoves. It's a no. And so, they are very punitive. They want to control the way we live, of course, from their own private jets and mansions, which are, they're gas guzzling and energy guzzling by the minute. And he's feeling it. But I think this one goes beyond just the squad or left.
AOC's approach to politics feels like handing the keys of a jetliner to someone armed only with crayons and a dream. She throws out dramatic buzzwords like a motivational speaker at a college fair. They sound impressive until you actually stop and read them. Peel back the polish, and there's not much holding it together. Megyn Kelly didn't break a sweat. She calmly cut through AOC's claims with the precision of a surgeon, exposing the fluff beneath the surface. Greg skipped the niceties entirely, bringing a blowtorch instead, mocking the irony of someone denouncing capitalism while soaking in its benefits. Her latest ideas treat basic economics like an elective and see control over what she doesn't fully understand. Yet her followers cheer as if it were a TED Talk. Kelly and Greg weren't impressed. Slogans aren't strategy. Feelings aren't facts. And Instagram Live isn't governing. Take away the filters, and what's left is a shaky mix of recycled ideology served with overconfidence. But AOC keeps going, because when reality stings, there's always another tweet, another headline, another performance.